Hi and welcome to episode 28 of Tales of Yarnia. My name is Hannah and I'm coming to you from Cheltenham in the UK, which is where I live with my other half Jimmy and our yellow Labrador Jonah. Social media wise, you can find me as Yarnia Designs on Instagram and Ravelry, and you can also find my knitting patterns on Ravelry under Yarnia Designs. We do also have a group for the podcast, which is called Tales of Yarnia on Ravelry. Usually stuff goes on in there just when we've got cows on and things like that, which we don't have any at the moment. What else do I need to tell you? I did just want to say thank you for all your comments and the discussions that I managed to have with people around racism in the knitting community, which I discussed on the last episode, so that'll be episode 27. That was it was really, really good to be able to discuss the issues with people, and I really appreciate the comments and feedback from that as well. So if you can hear that, I think next door's dog might be barking. I think they've recently got a little puppy. I'm not sure you'll be able to hear it though, because it's in the part of our house that joins to them is like over in that side. Hopefully you can't hear it. It should be quite distant. So there is a wall which should block out some of the noise. But yeah, if you can hear it, that's what that is. And she's adorable. She's like a 13-week-old Labradoodle, so she's super cute. We forgive her for getting upset and they leave. Right, anyway. I have a new pattern release to talk about, and I forgot to bring it down. I don't know where it is. I'm going to just try and find it. Hang on. Luckily, it was not hard to find. So the pattern, which has now been released, this hat has been relinquished to Jimmy, so it's getting wear and therefore it's getting dog hair on it because everything in this house gets covered in dog hair. But anyway, without further ado, this is the juniper hat, which I believe I did show as an FO on the last episode, but this pattern is now available on Ravelry. There are two sizes available. There's sort of a small to medium size, which is what I would pick for myself. And then there's a large size, which is the one I knit for Jimmy here. But I mean, the pattern is, if you're unsure on sizing, the pattern is quite forgiving because, as you can see, it is sort of a ribbed, because of the cables and these bits, it does sort of create a bit of a stretchy fabric. So yeah. He's really pleased with it, and I've got a discount code running at the moment on the Ravelry page, and it is for 20% off the pattern price until the end of the 24th of February. And the code is Juniper20, so I'll have that on the screen as well and in the show notes, which are, forgot to say at the beginning, everything I talk about is just in the down bar. I'll include links to everything there, so I'll also include the discount code written down there too. So yeah, so that's the main announcement I had to talk about at the beginning. And now onto the knitting. Well, that's not knitting, it's a knitted hat, but you know what I mean. Onto the rest of the stuff. So FOs, whips, excuse me, and I've also got, I've just shown you the first thing. I've I've also got an extra exciting news section to add to the podcast this week, which will be at the end. So stay tuned for that. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have an idea of what it will be. But yes, let's keep the suspense going. Right, so I have one FO, and it's the Blackberry Kisses shawl that I've knit for my friend, who hopefully doesn't watch the podcast. Don't think she does. I mean, if she does, it's too late now, so. Ta-da! I finished it. And it's all blocked. So you can see, I think last time I showed it to you, I was part way through the cable section. And it always looks a bit funny before it's sort of been soaked and blocked. But you can see here, now it's been blocked, it does sort of open out to this X's and O's cable that runs all along the border. And yeah, I really, really love the way it's turned out. This is the second one I've knit, because this is actually my own design. It's the Blackberry Kisses shawl on Ravelry, which I think I released in November last year. And I remember my friend, when she saw it, she's not a knitter. She has knit before, but she's not a knitter now. And I remember her saying that she really loved this shawl design. So I decided to knit her one for her birthday, which she still doesn't know about. And I'm planning on giving it to her later this week, so luckily I've been able to show it on the podcast beforehand. But yeah, she really loves purples, so I decided to... Oh, if I fold it in half, it might be a bit less see-through. You might be able to see a bit better. So yeah, the purple colour that I've used is Travel Knitter in the Hogmanay colourway. And it's on her BFL base, I believe. And then the contrast that I've used for the cable and the stripes is Niche yarn, which is a New Zealand hand-dyed yarn. I believe the lady's based in Wellington in New Zealand. And I picked that up from Holland Road Yarn Co. When we went over to visit. So I believe it's 100% merino. Can't quite remember, but I really like the stitch definition on this. I picked up some niche yarns in a few different colours, and this is the first time I've knit any of them up, so it's really squishy and soft, and I really like it. And the colourway for that one is Silver Linings. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this, and I really hope she likes it. She is very knit-worthy. My friend that I'm giving this to, I knit things for her daughter, sort of like every birthday and Christmas, and they're always really, really happy to get hand-knit gifts. So yes, she's very knit-worthy, and I hope she likes the colours. She is obsessed with purple, so she should do. I think she'll like it. So yeah, that's my only FO. And yeah, so whips wise, I have knit on about 6 or 7 different things probably since I last spoke to you. And some of them have had hardly any progress because I've just knit on them for a little bit and then put them down again. And I've sort of felt like I couldn't really focus. I was sort of all over the place the last couple of weeks, and I couldn't really focus on sort of just like 1 or 2 projects. I think once I'd finished that shawl, the Blackberry Kisses shawl, I felt like I had some freedom. I went a bit mad. But I couldn't really focus my energy on just sort of like one or two existing whips. So I'm only going to show you 3. I have made a tiny bit of progress on my Spectre sweater by Johi Locatelli, which I showed you last time, but I'm still on the second colour, so there's not really much more to show you. And I've also made some progress on my fading point, which is also by Johi Locatelli, but I don't feel like it's enough to show you, so I'm just going to condense the whip section down and show you just the ones which I feel like I've made the most progress on. I think I maybe did a couple of rows on my Dust of Snow as well, and I even did 1 row on my Granny Stripe blanket, but you sort of see I've been so all over the place, knitting on everything, but not making that much progress on a lot of things. So the first thing I'm going to show you after I have a sip of my tea is my shawl design, which is, yeah, it doesn't yet have a name, so bear with me. I'm drinking chamomile tea today in my yellow Labrador mug. You see, it's got Jonah's all the way around. I should just call it my Jonah mug. So, oh, I did forget to tell you what I'm wearing. I meant to say that before the FO. But yes, I'm wearing 1 knitted item today. Well, 2. I'm wearing hand knit socks, but I'm not going to get my feet up on the table, so sorry to disappoint you. I am wearing another of my shawl designs. This is the Salcombe shawl. And I believe I released this pattern last summer, and I really want to knit. I really love lacy shawls. I love having loads of garter and lace, and I have like really lovely memories of knitting this design up. I think it wasn't my first shawl design. I think it was my 3rd one. But I think it was the one I was most excited about. I'll just take it off. I have lovely memories of just sitting in the garden with it being really hot, and I really enjoy knitting with the yarns that I have. So the yarns were hedgehog fibres in typewriter, I believe, and then the sort of like minty green is Labianime in Life Aquatic, and they're both knit. They're both the singles bases, and I really enjoy knitting shawls with singles. And the other thing I love about this shawl is it smells amazing. I think it's the yarn just smells so. It just smells really sheepy. I don't know why. I just love the smell of this shawl. And I think I love the smell of a lot of singles yarn. I don't know what's wrong with me. Does anyone else have a favourite yarn smell? Yeah, so try and show you this properly. So yeah, it's another crescent-shaped shawl, similar to the Blackberry Kisses, but this is a bit shallower just because of the construction. And yeah, so I just feel like it's been really sunny here recently. The weather has gotten really mild, and I'll just try and put this back on. Yeah, the weather has been quite mild, and it's been really sunny this last couple of days. Sun's now gone in because I said it, but we have had the sun in and out of the clouds this morning, and it's been feeling a little bit like spring is just around the corner. We're being primed for spring here. And it's really exciting. I'm really excited to see all of the plants and the flowers in the garden that we planted last year. Because if you've been watching for a while, I think I showed on the podcast last year in our garden, along one whole edge of the garden, we put in a border, like an entire border the length of the garden, where before it was just grass. So we dug it all up and put in a nice border with loads of plants and flowers, and so all of those plants are still in their infancy really, and I'm really excited to see them come back to life this spring. So because that'll be the first year that we've sort of had that in this house, so yeah, that should be really nice. And yeah, I do quite enjoy the start of spring. I think I'm a bit strange. I like the start of each season. I like when the seasons are changing, but I get bored of them by the end. I don't know if anyone else is like that. Like, I really love autumn. I think that's my favourite season. I love autumn the whole way through. I don't get bored of that one. But summer I do get bored of. When it gets to sort of August, I want it to be autumn. And at the moment, I think I'm getting a bit bored of winter. Yeah, I think it should be spring soon. I want all the colour to come back in the garden and the sunshine to come out and it just to be a little bit warmer than it has been. But yeah, so yeah, that's a little ramble about the seasons and the weather. So yeah, I was going to talk to you about whips, so I hope you're still with me and I've not lost you all after my ramble into my favourite seasons. So yeah, I was going to show you my new shawl design, and it is living in my project bag from Cottage. Is it Cottage number 9? Is it Cottage number 9? It does have a label. Yes, my Cottage number 9. Yeah, so yeah, it's living in the project bag I got for Christmas from my mum, from my Cottage number 9, and I love this project bag. It's just got like an entire winter scene on it. On the other side, it's got gingerbread houses, and it has this really useful handle as well. Yeah, really love it. Sorry, need another sip of tea. My throat is not helping me. Got a bit of a froggy throat and I'm not sure why. Anyway, living in here. Which way around am I showing it? Better show the front. So this is what I've done so far. If I show you the right way up, that might help. So here we go. So yeah, where the little unicorn progress keeper is, that's from the Hannah of the Corner of Craft, by the way, if you didn't know. That's where I was the last time I showed this to you. So I've done a fair amount. It does take longer to knit whilst you're designing, because in the lace sections, I have to figure out. It just takes a bit more brain power and space in my brain to figure that out. But look at this yarn. Look at the way it's knitting up. The yarn is Kinsman Yarn Co. and she is based in Australia. And I absolutely love it. It's her, I think it's her, what was it? What was the base name? Ooh. I think I've kept the tag in here for this exact purpose. Yes, I did. So yeah, it's the Kinsman Merino fingering base, and the colourway is Hepburn. But yeah, here is, oh, it's that episode. I can't do this today. This is her gorgeous tag. And yeah, the base is 400 metres or 437 yards and 100 grams. There you go. That's the tag. And just wrapping this around my tea. This is the cake I'm currently working from. I just love this yarn. It's just this delicate blush, peachy pink, with these amazing speckles. I just love it. It's beautiful to knit up. And it's so soft. I really, really do love it. So I'm going to try to show you close up. What I've done so far. So I'm trying to incorporate lots of garter sections with little eyelets, and then some lace sections as well. But the lace is pretty simple, and I like to design things that I enjoy knitting, and I tend to enjoy knitting sort of the simpler projects where things don't stay the same for too long. I really enjoy when you sort of do a certain type of stitch for a little while and then you change onto something new and then it changes again. So I'm trying to sort of incorporate my favourite sort of way to knit into my designs, which I think makes the most sense, because if I enjoy knitting something, I hope other people would too. So yeah. And the entire shawl is going to be the same colour. So, excuse me, my throat today. Yeah, so I think this is the first shawl that I've designed in just one colour, which I was quite excited to do, because then the focus is more on the stitch patterns. So yeah, I've got another cake of the same colourway. So yeah, you can see I'm not that far into it yet. So I need to get knitting on this. Now that I've sort of figured out what I'm doing with the design. It's now I'm showing you upside down. I don't know why I'm doing that. So I'm just banging, I keep banging the needle on the table, and it's just sounds a bit crazy. There we go. So yeah, it's as sort of an asymmetric shawl, and that's quite fun to do for a change, because it means you haven't got as many stitches on the needle, so your rows aren't quite as long, and it feels like you're making more progress quicker. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that at the moment, and yeah, hopefully next time I'll have a lot more progress to show you. But when I'm designing, I just need the brain space to do it, and the sort of time to set aside, especially when it comes to the lace sections. So there we go. Right, now I've got 2 more whips to show you. The next one is living in a new project bag, which was a present from my lovely friends Claire and Becky of the Bird Box podcast. I met up with them for Flock, which was our sort of Southwest Knitters meetup in Bristol last weekend, and we had so much fun. I was going to talk about this later on, but yeah, I'll talk about it later on. But yeah, they gave me my Christmas present, which included this project bag. And I'm not sure if Claire has made it. I think Claire might have made it. I meant to ask her. I completely forgot to. But it's so gorgeous. I love it so much. This print is just so cute. I love it. And it's the perfect size for a sock project. So living in here is a new sock design, which I've started. And this sock design is using Mr. B's yarn in one of their Valentine's Day colourways. And this one was dyed up by Claire, and it's called Mr. Right. And just look how vibrant that is. It's gorgeous. I really, really love it. And Claire was so generous and gave me a skein of this for helping them out on Saturday at Flock, because I sort of helped out with the setting up the yarn booth and getting to take payments with the exciting thingy machine, which was so much fun. But yes, I'll show you the design that I've come up with. So this was like a really unplanned cast on. It was sort of, I thought of the idea as soon as when I was driving home from Flock. I mean, I was exhausted. I was so tired, but my mind was just like whizzing around. I was so happy because we'd had such a wonderful time, and yeah, I just started getting ideas buzzing around my head for a sock design in that colourway. So I think it was a couple of days after I cast it on, and yeah, this is what I've got so far. So I wanted just a fairly simple design with just a little lace panel up one side, sort of similar to the cottage garden socks, because I really enjoyed knitting those, because then you've just got a little bit of interest on the side of the sock, and then quite a lot of stockinette, which is just really fun to knit up, or I find it really fun to knit up, having just that little bit of detail to keep your interest, but then knitting all the way around until you get to the little bit of fun detail again. I find it knits up quite quick. So I'm just going to... Oh, can I get this on the sock blocker? I might be able to. I've just done the heel on this, so I'm just going to try. I haven't actually put this on the sock blocker yet. Oh, where has that needle gone? If I just keep those up there. This is actually the first time I'm looking at the design on a sock blocker, so... Oh, I like that. I've tried to like look at it stretched out and tried it on my foot a little bit, but I always like how they look on a sock blocker because I think my feet are quite, I don't know. It's always nice to be able to see it. It's hard to look at it on your own feet. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And don't you just love the way this is knitting up, this colourway? Just sort of those flashes of orange and white. Sort of like different variations on the pinks and purples. I love it. So yeah, this lace panel is going to continue all the way up the sock, and then there's going to be another simple little lace design on the back of the sock as well. Sorry, the back of the leg. And using my usual toe up gusset and heel flap, which is I use in all my designs. So yeah, this little progress keeper is this little flower, which came as part of my the Beehive Yarns January Mad Men Club. So I thought it just went really well with this colourway because I think this reminds me of sort of like spring flowers, and it looks very springy to me, and obviously flowers in spring. I thought it was a perfect match, so yeah, I thought that went really well. So yeah, I just need to figure out the rest of the sock, knit up the sample, and I was thinking of trying to design it as a cuff down as well. So I just need to do a little bit of tweaking and playing around to figure out this lace bit. Because I thought it looked a little bit like hearts, sort of like stacked up on top of each other. Sort of a little bit like hearts, so yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm up to with this. It's working up quite quick for me. But yeah, really enjoying it. And I really love the way that yarn is knitting up, it's just beautiful. Right, so got one more whip to show you. And that is living in my thimble and thread bag. The little foxes and mushrooms. Excuse me, I know I keep clearing my throat today. Something's going on. I did have a bit of a sore throat yesterday, so I wonder if I'm coming down with a bit of a cold or something. But it better go away before next weekend because I'm going to unravel. I mean, I'm going to the festival called Unravel. I am not going to physically unravel. Right, so this is just my vanilla sock living in here. And this, for some reason, I did as a cuff down. I don't know what possessed me. I'm just a bit crazy like that. Sometimes I do cuff down, sometimes I do toe up. It's just how I roll. Whatever I feel like doing on the day. So yes, I am now onto the foot of this sock. I think last time I was here, where this little progress keeper is, he doesn't want to look at you because he's upside down. And that's just a little vampire ice lolly from Jiggles and Beans. And I've now done the heel and I'm onto the foot. So I've done a little bit of progress on this. And the heel, I'm just trying to use up sort of like leftover scraps for heels and toes and things. So this is leftover from my Midwinter Mist shawl, and it's the Grimoire colourway by Fine Fish Yarns. So I'm going to use that for the heel and also for the toe, I think. I think that'll look nice for the toe as well. I know it's more ends to weave in, but I quite like the look of a matching heel and toe instead of just a heel. Yeah, I think I'll probably do that. But yeah, I've just gone a bit mad with picking the variegated colourways to match the variegated colourways. But I quite like the look of just sort of like mishmashed together. So it's a scrappy heel and toe sock. The rest of the sock isn't scrappy, but the heel and toe are a little bit. So yeah, I like to try and use up the scraps in projects, because I think I had like 30 grams left over of that colour. So I've got enough to do heels and toes in this pair of socks, and then I can have a little bit left over to put in my granny stripe as well, because I would like to have a little bit left over to put in that. So yeah, I was going to maybe just do a plain purple toe with a mini skein that I've got, but then I thought I just quite liked this one. I thought it would be quite cool to have a variegated, matching variegated, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, the main colour, main yarn I'm using is Laughing Yaffle, and I think it's in the Summer Lawns colourway. This was, I think it's been in my stash for a couple of years, so it's not focusing. Why? There we go. So yeah, just plain old vanilla sock. It's just fun sometimes to just knit round and round and round and round without having to sort of think about much. Oh, and the heel that I've used for this is the New Depths heel by Soprano Knits, aka Becky Sorensen. And I quite like the way that heel fits when I'm doing a cuff down sock. I just don't really like picking up stitches very much for a heel flap, which is why when I'm doing a heel flap I knit toe up, because I don't have to mess around picking up stitches, which I really don't like doing. So yeah, that's my last whip. So I'm going to move on to the exciting news section of the podcast, which is spinning. Yeah, I've decided to dive down an entirely new rabbit hole, and this was in no way inspired by Flock, where we had a section of Mr. B's yarn, like a little booth, Mr. B's yarn at one end, and then we also had a little booth by Cat and Sparrow, who Rachel of Cat and Sparrow was so lovely and sort of gave me a bit of an introduction on spinning, and she had this selection of drop spindles, which are, I think they're all 3D printed. Yeah, they're all 3D printed drop spindles, which I thought was really cool. And she had all these different fibres, and then she also had hand-dyed yarns as well, which were beautiful. So I just sort of like had a little look at the fibres, and I thought, I've been watching people sort of talk about spinning for a while, and I've always been quite interested, but I was sort of a bit intimidated by the sort of like all the different terminology that I didn't understand, and also I was slightly worried that I'd end up acquiring an entirely separate stash and end up spending more money. But I think that the budget for spinning will just come out of the budget for other stuff, so it will just be a shared budget, I think, for crafting. So I will show you the fibre which drew my attention. So here is Rachel's tag. So it's Cat and Sparrow, and she sort of went through sort of like the best fibres for beginners to start off with. And I think she said Corriedale was the main one, which would be good for a beginner spinner, but also BFL. And out of the colours she sort of like picked out and said these probably be the best place to start, for you. I went with this one, which is called After the Storm. It's just so beautiful. I just love these moody purples and blues with the pops of sort of like orange and yellow. Look at that bit. And it's just so squishy. It's beautiful. The Corriedale was so squishy as well, in like a completely different way. It was just really, really fun and interesting to see. To see all of the different fibres and sort of learn a bit more about the properties of each one as well. Each, like, different breeds of sheep, and how the wool can be completely different and good for different things, and sort of, yeah, I felt like I was learning a lot, and it was really fun. Just look at it. Isn't it beautiful? So, yeah, that's the fibre I picked. I've got some other bits here which I've been splitting up and learning. I've been learning about pre-drafting. So when I first started, I did not understand. I did not realise that was a thing. I was just like, I don't know, I just sort of like dove in and I was like, let's just have a go at spinning. I did watch like a couple of videos, but then I later discovered some more useful videos for a beginner, which sort of like gave, wow, that's blowing out a lot. It's the sun, it's the light from the clouds. So it was just a big bang outside, I'm not sure what it was. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, I later discovered some really useful videos, which if I can find them again, I will put the links in down below. I think one was definitely Kristen of Bullenvine. She did like a sort of a little video on how she spins with a drop spindle. And I can't remember the name of the other lady, but hopefully it'll show on my liked videos if I have a look at that. Because she sort of had like 10, I think it was like 10 things she wishes she'd known when she was starting out trying to spin using a drop spindle. Anyway, I will show you the spindle and what I've managed to do so far. So it is a Turkish spindle, and it creates this little turtle of yarn. And I've been really, really enjoying it. I haven't spun for a couple of days because I feel like I strained my shoulder a little bit from holding my like arm like really high up. But I'm learning and like trying to figure it out, and yeah, I just need to pace myself because I think I did like a couple of hours of spinning in one go, which was probably quite intensive on my shoulder. And someone, like I put a little, I think I put a little video on Instagram stories of just like a video of me trying to drop spindle. Not drop. Yeah. Me trying to spin using this. And I think I was sort of like asked for any tips for a new spinner. I think one person said to like lower my shoulders because I was going to hurt my shoulder doing it that high up. So I've been trying to consciously bring it lower, but it does sort of creep up again because I like to have it in front of my face so I can see what I'm doing with the drafting. So yeah, this is what I've achieved so far, and I'm really, really proud of it. I know it's not perfect, and it's not going to be perfect because I'm learning, but I'm so pleased that I even managed to do this. The bit on top is a lot more even than some of the stuff underneath. It's really thick and thin underneath, the bits that I did earlier on. And it was after watching these videos about pre-drafting and the way, I think Kristen's, the Vullenvine video was really helpful because it showed how she had pre-drafted her fibre and she had it wrapped around her arm, which I hadn't thought of because I just hadn't. I didn't realise like you could have it so thin and then wrapped around. So that was really, really useful. And once I started adopting that technique and just sort of like feeding it through slowly from a very thin pre-drafted bit of fibre, I found it so much easier and it ended up being so much more evenly spun. So I just love how it's turning out. I have no idea what I'm going to do with the finished yarn yet, but I was thinking I will try and ply it, do a 2-ply. So I think that's probably the easiest to start with for a beginner. But yeah, at the moment this is all the spinning equipment I have. I don't have a lazy Kate or anything, but I'm not sure if I need it having a Turkish spindle because it'll be in a little ball once I sort of like take this stuff out. So I don't know if you have any advice on what I should do about plying from a Turkish spindle. Do I need a lazy Kate or do I just leave it in a ball, put them in like separate yarn bowls or something and ply them from that? I don't know. And also, how do I know how to get these parts out, but do I need to leave it to do something before taking it out? Like, say I just finished spinning this, can I immediately take the spindle apart, or will that ruin what I've been spinning? Because this has been sat there for a few days now. So if anyone has any knowledge or insight, please feel free to share with me and just comment down below. I'll try looking it up later, but I quite like having sort of like more of a discussion about it with people. It's nice to hear it directly from other spinners and hear about your experiences. Now, I think from what I've read and watched online, I think drop spindling is quite a lot of a slower process than using a spinning wheel. And I know I'm very early on in the whole spinning journey, my adventure down the spinning rabbit hole, but I am thinking at some point I might like to invest in a spinning wheel, possibly also because it might not hurt my shoulder as much as this and I could get more done at once if I wanted to have like a long session of spinning. So yeah, if you've got any recommendations on your favourite spinning wheel which might be good for a beginner, then please comment down below and just share anything you want to do with spinning in the comments. I'm learning and I need to learn as much as possible. I'm really, really enjoying this though. Really, really enjoying what I've done so far. And I'm so excited for Unravel next weekend. I'm so excited to meet other people and sort of like meet some of the yarn dyers and podcasters I've been watching and like seeing online for years. And this is the first festival I'm going to. I'm a festival noob. So yeah, I'm super excited, and I'm hoping I won't do too much damage because I've acquired a few things recently, which I will show you in a minute. But yeah, I'm really excited, especially to see the Spin City booth, because they're going to have fibre and spindles, and I would like to get some more fibre and just to have some lined up for once I've finished spinning this one. And yeah, it'd just be fun to see more fibre and spindles and just all the cool spinning stuff that goes along with it. You can tell I don't really know much of the language yet. I've tried to do some reading up and I've learned what a lazy Kate is, so I was really excited about that. And I know what drafting is. And I've sort of watched videos on the different types of spindles, so I'm thinking I might also like to get a drop spindle, so that I can sort of like compare how that is to a Turkish spindle. But yeah, really excited for that. And yeah, right, so put the spinning away. I'm just fidgeting with it now. I do have some acquisitions to show you apart from that. I've been really bad this last couple of weeks, I think. I was telling myself I need to be good because I'm going to unravel, and I wanted to sort of like pace myself, so look, save my money to spend there. But I don't know what happened. I do know what happened. I went to Flock and saw Mr. B's yarn in person, and I couldn't resist. But then other things happened too. So I'll show you this first. This was also part of my Christmas present from Becky and Claire, and they, as well as that project bag, they also got me this gorgeous skein of DK on this like really, really squishy tweedy base, which is so fun. It's really soft as well. The yarn is by Chester Wool Company, and I think they are based in Deeside. It's got a CH5 postcode, which would indicate Chester even, so it can't be far from Chester, which is near where I am originally from. I'm originally from Cheshire, East Cheshire, just south of Manchester, so sort of like yarn from nearer to home. And the base is coloured Donegal DK, and it's 225 metres per 100 grams. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% multicoloured nep. And I'm not sure if this is the colourway name. I'll show you the label. It says type 49233. Yeah. Beautiful. It would make a really gorgeous hat, I think. That might have to be a hat. I have to sniff the wool. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm going to get a reputation as a wool sniffer. Oh no, I'm falling apart. Oh dear. Oh no, I'm getting caught on things now. This is not good. Okay, put myself back together. I'll crack on with the other acquisitions. So, yeah, when I went to Flock, I came away with a few things. Some of which I knew I was going to get, well, one of which I knew I was going to get, and that was the sort of Flock colourway that they brought out to celebrate like the first meeting at Flock. And I knew as soon as Claire told me the name of the colourway, before I'd even seen it, that I was going to need to have this in my stash. Just to sort of commemorate the first ever Flock, and yeah, just commemorate the occasion. The colourway is called Meet the Flockers, and here it is. It is gorgeous. Just look at that. And they had a little sample of it knit up. I think, what was it that was knit up in it? I think Becky had knit, was it the bunny? You know, like the, oh, what are they called? Forgotten what they're called. It's like the knitted bunny things. Yeah, she'd knitted one of those in this, I think. Pretty sure it was this colourway she'd knit it in. But yeah, they have a little sample. It's just gorgeous. So pretty. So yeah, I had to get one of those. It's going to make such an awesome pair of socks, I think, at some point. Or it could go with another colourway in a shawl. Let's see. So I got that one. And then there were two others that caught my eye. The first one was Honeysuckle. And these are all on their Hiddleston 4-ply base. I just love sort of like the delicate sort of background colours, and then these sort of dark green and black speckles. It's just beautiful. So yeah, I really, really loved that. So that came home with me. And then the last one was their Mint In It colourway. I really, really love this. It was really, really nice to see all of the colourways sort of in person, because you could sort of hold them up next to each other and see what went with what. And sometimes it's difficult to sort of capture the amount of detail, like how it's just difficult to sort of imagine it in person just from looking at the pictures online. It was so beautiful, but yeah, it's sort of difficult to just see, like, capture how rich the colours are. It looks just gorgeous in person. I just fell in love with it when I saw this one. Because we were, me and Becky were sort of tasked with getting all the yarn and displaying it in the booth, which was really, really fun. Just getting these huge bags of yarn and being like, right, these ones go here, and just displaying it all really nicely. I really enjoyed it, actually. It was like playing shop. And yeah, then it was really fun, sort of like doing the sales as well, and getting to use it was like an Apple Pay little machine thing, which was really exciting. So yeah, and it was very difficult being surrounded by the yarn most of the day. And yeah, it was inevitable that I was going to end up buying some. So yeah, I'd actually hidden one of these for myself to buy, because I hadn't decided which other colourways I also wanted. But yeah, I knew I wanted to meet the flockers, so I'd hidden that away from me. Perks of being on the shop. Right, so these are the three that I got. I think these would actually make a really cool combination. I especially really liked these two together. Thought they might make a really cool shawl combination. So yeah, so that was the Mr. B's yarn. I've now got in my craft room one of the cubbies that all my yarn lives in. One of them is now pretty much all Mr. B's yarn. They've got their own shelf in my stash. So yeah, and before I'd even gone to Flock, I had purchased another acquisition. I saw that Travel Knitter was having having a bit of a sale on all of her base, which is discontinued, which is the Pure Merino sock base, which is 100% superwash merino. It's the exact same base and yarn that I knit my Zweig out of, the main colour, which was that dark navy blue. And she was selling these at a pretty big discount. I think it was like, what was it, 60% of the full price? So it was nearly half price. Nearly half price. So it was very difficult to pass up the opportunity to get a sweaters quantity. And the one that I went for, she had a few different colours available, and I decided to go for puddled iron. I thought this dark grey would make a really versatile garment. So I feel like a lot of the garments I'm making, they are beautiful and I will wear them, but I would like, especially cardigans, to be sort of more versatile and go with more of my everyday clothes. Stuff like the shop bought stuff, and just sort of go with all sorts of different colours and be able to be worn much more often. So I'm sort of on the lookout for more neutral sweater quantities. So instead of buying sweater quantities of variegated yarns, which still have a place and are still going to be knit up and loved and worn once they're finished, I think it's also a good idea for me to have some more neutral, sort of tonal sweater quantities to knit up. I wasn't planning on buying any yet, but this was just such a good deal that I couldn't pass it up, and Travel Knitter isn't going to, I don't think she's going to be at Unravel. I don't think she's at Unravel. So, yeah, that happened. I do feel guilty about the amount of yarn that I've been buying. But it makes me happy, so I shouldn't really apologise too much for it, because I don't really spend money on much else. Sorry, just seeing Jonah in the corner. Let me see if I can show you. He is lying like a complete weirdo on his bed. Oh my gosh. I'll try and put the camera back. Messing up the setup. Is that how we work? Pretty much. Anyway, I've got one more acquisition. And this was a present. And this was a present I got from Jimmy for Valentine's Day. And it is, I may have pointed him and hinted that he should look in the direction of London House Yarns, because they had some Valentine's Day self-striping colourways, which they were having in an update at a particular time. So I made, that was a very subtle hint that I made, and luckily he came through and he picked out the Love Song colourway, which I sort of told him which my favourite ones were if he wanted to do this. We're not normally hugely into Valentine's Day, but I sort of decided we should do it this year. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. So this is going to be such an awesome pair of socks. And he went for the one that had the mini skein as well, so it's a complete sock set. Yeah. Yay! Gorgeous. So yeah, it's the 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and you get 425 meters for 100 grams. going to make an awesome pair of socks. And to be fair, I don't really have that many self-striping yarns in my stash. I think I've now got 4, which is a good amount to have. I think that's, I mean, I was going to say that's enough, but I'm going to unravel next week, so if I say that that's enough, then I'm definitely going to end up buying more. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to end up with. I think it's a good idea possibly to go with a bit of a list. But I don't know what I'm going to see. And I've definitely got fibre on my list and a spindle and maybe a sweater's quantity of John Arbon, maybe. I can't remember what their price points are. But yeah, I'm sort of want to get some not so premium sweater quantities of yarn as well. So yeah, I think that's mostly what I had to chat to you about. It's all the acquisitions, that's done now. I did just want to give a shout out to a new podcaster who I've discovered, and that is Anushka of the Crimson Stitchery podcast. And I'll put a link to her podcast just down below. She is based in London in the UK, and she has just put out her first episode within the last week, I think. And I really, really enjoyed it. She was really interesting to listen to, and she had some beautiful projects as well. And yeah, there's this gorgeous like cabled cardigan that she's knit in the most vibrant magenta, and it is amazing. And I really, really enjoyed her discussion on sort of like mending your like hand knit and sort of like handmade garments and clothes, and trying to get sort of like as much use out of them as possible to make them last. And also her discussion around not wasting yarn and trying to sort of use up every last scrap, which is something that really resonated with me as well, because I hate waste. And because the yarn that I buy, it is quite an investment, and like at first I sort of shied away from buying indie dyed yarns and things because I sort of felt like there was a lot of money to spend on just like that amount of yarn. But I think as I have sort of, as my stash has grown, as I've sort of progressed as a knitter and sort of become more ingrained, I think, in the knitting community and everything like that, I do really enjoy buying hand-dyed yarns and buying sort of from local or small businesses. I really like supporting local businesses as well, but particularly small businesses, and I like to be able to use up every last bit of that yarn, because it's not like I know I do buy quite a lot of yarn, but I don't spend that money like unconsciously. Like I appreciate that those yarns, like the money that I spend on that is a lot, and I do appreciate that like the value of that yarn. And I do like to try and use up every last scrap, so even if the projects I'm knitting with the yarn doesn't use up all of it, I do like to try and use up the scraps in other projects. Like I think there was a shawl last year that I knit and gave as a Christmas present, was 3 different yarns, all of which were leftovers from other projects. And I just really enjoy making something new out of leftovers. Because like looking at the project, you don't look at it as just leftovers, but I feel like I'm making something for nothing then. And I like to be able to use up every last bit. So even if I don't manage to use up every single scrap in my leftover projects, I like to then put that yarn into my granny stripe blanket. And like when I'm looking for colours for heels and toes and things, I sort of look in my scrap basket first to see what might go and what I can use there. So yeah, sorry, it was a bit of an off-topic tangent and ramble, but yeah, I just wanted to say to go check out Anushka's podcast, The Crimson Stitchery. It's really, really interesting, and her projects are beautiful. So yeah, that's about all I've got time to say. I don't know how long this podcast has ended up being, and I thought it would end up being quite short because I was only going to show you 3 whips, but I've ended up rambling on and on. So if you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you come back for more. And if you're going to be at Unravel next week, I am going on the Saturday, and I am going with my friends Claire, Becky and Kate, who you will know from the Bird Box podcast and the What Kate Knit podcast, and Mr. B's Yarn. Yeah, so I'm going to be heading down to Bristol, meeting up with them, and then we're sort of road tripping it across to Unravel, and it's going to be really fun. We're going to have snacks and tunes, I've been promised. They'll be singing. Not when we get there, just in the car, so do not expect me to sing. But yeah, if you do see me, please come up and say hello. I would really love to meet you, and yeah, give me a hug. I'm fine with that. So yeah, I'm so excited to go now. I just can't wait to meet all of the people and the knitters and squish all the yarns. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be amazing. So yeah, anyway, if I don't see you there, I will see you next time, in a couple of weeks probably. That'll be when I next podcast. I'm rambling again, so I'm just going to say goodbye. Bye!